Hey, what's up, college football fans? The college ball show is back. Had a little technical difficulties trying to figure out exactly how to get into the blog talk today. Was having a little problems with the normal number, but hey, we got it in. We are inside. Anyway, I'm trying something new here. Doing a live stream on YouTube as well as doing a live stream on Blog Talk. So just seeing, seeing how it works here, trying to get the sound right. Anyway, the college ball show is back. We're back for another season. Unfortunately, Marshall will not be able to make it today. He's got a new schedule, so we're gonna figure something out as far as getting him on the show. He's actually teaching down in Texas, down there in Texas, and he's coaching football as well. So props to him. So he's a busy guy right now. He's not on the other schedule that he was. So it's kind of we had similar schedules. Now it's opposite. So we're gonna get that figured out. But either way, that's neither here or there. The college ball show is back. We're here to talk everything college football pertaining to. I'm losing it right now. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, stay with the college football show, college ball show, all the way through the college football season. Then we switch gears to college basketball all the way to the national championship. And then we switch gears to the NBA playoffs. So we'll be here till July, literally all the way through draft and free agency and all that. We had some time off, and now we are back up in this thing, so to speak. Um, where do we start? I'd say a good place to start is the afternoon or the morning session of college football Saturday. That's where I think we should start for obvious reasons because we already have an upset. Not in the making, it's a done deal. Number 16 in the, because of the BCS era and now the new championship bowl series era, I should say. um, we now know that some of this stuff that we used to care about, it just doesn't matter anymore. You know what I mean? And this is a great reason why Houston knocks off number three. They were, what were there, 16? Number three, Oklahoma. And a fun game in the first half that was pretty much dominated, especially on the defensive side of the ball, by Houston. And here we're looking at a matchup that might turn into a rivalry. I guess it would turn into a rivalry because with the fact that Houston, I don't know if it's finalized or whatever, but Houston has been rumored heavy to to be joining the Big 12. So we may have witnessed something today that is a start of something good. But for Oklahoma, it's not a start of something good. That's for damn sure. We're going to get into recap of that. We're also going to look at this afternoon session and tonight as well. Some big games. ESPN, who's broadcasting most of this, them and their partners at ABC, they're calling this the biggest college football weekend ever. I don't know. Do you agree? On paper, I guess you'd have to say that. And like I mention every year, we would not be in this predicament, which is a great predicament. I say predicament, but that's it's not really something to sit there and say it's a predicament. We wouldn't be here hadn't it been for the heavily criticized BCS. That's just facts. That's just facts. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So, um, man, it on paper though, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. and a couple people just left my job, so I couldn't get the whole weekend off. I do have Saturdays off for college football because I do some writing and that type of thing. So, so yeah, I'm going to be doing college football on YouTube now as well to go along with the boxing, just like I do on Blog Talk. So anyway, we're going to get into that game. Like I said, we're going to talk about the other games that are on the docket. Keep you updated with what's going on in UCLA, Texas A&M, and also LSU and Wisconsin. That game's in Green Bay. And I'll tell you what, the LSU fans obviously came out like in drones. They really filled a good chunk of that stadium. Of course, it's, going to be mostly, the, it's going to be mostly, the Badger fans, but I'm not going to say it's half and half by any stretch, but I was pretty impressed. I got to say, I was pretty impressed. So anyway, had a little rough start here. Some of my switchboards kind of falling apart here. So I just want to. All right. So anyway, we're going to get into that. Ole Miss, Florida State Monday night. Tonight, Bama, USC. Lots to talk about. We got a Georgia, North Carolina game that's a battle of two ranked teams there. It's kind of flying under the radar just because, we got so much to talk about, so many big names out there. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited for another college football season. And let's get into this recap, right? I've been talking too much. Let's get into this recap. So right off the bat, and of course I'm talking about the Oklahoma-Houston game. Houston pulls an upset over Oklahoma. And I'll tell you what, Oklahoma, the last, let me read this so I know what I'm talking about. Make sure. Okay, Oklahoma, the last 4 times that they started the season, getting that AP top 5. So basically, a season that a lot of people say, hey, this is the team to beat or one of them. They could have a great season. And just with this loss doesn't mean they couldn't still have a great season. It makes it a lot harder. They do have they do have Ohio State in 2 weeks, so they would need to win that game, no doubt about it. But the last 4 times that the Oklahoma Sooners, under Bob Stoops, has started in the top 5 AP, they finished no higher than 15th, and 2 of those times they finished unranked. And I'll tell you what, it happened again today, and it's not like they this is a bad loss or whatever. We know that they can play with the big boys, Houston. In fact, like I said, they're ready. I don't know about basketball and other sports, but they're ready to go in the Big 12. No doubt about it. I believe. Anyway, right away, Mixon, the running back, they got a dual threat in the backfield. Mixon, very solid out of the backfield as well in a catch. He made a great catch. I'll talk about it in a second. He capped a drive with a nice touchdown. Very impressive opening drive from Oklahoma. So 7-0. There was a miscue on 3rd down that halted a really impressive drive for Houston as well. In fact, the first couple of drives ended in field goal. First play, though, for the next, as I'm speaking, still in that 7-3 score for Oklahoma, one-hand bobble catch by Mixon. When they got near the red zone, and Mayfield actually should have ran, but he kind of scampered back. He should have ran and got the first down. I think he would have gotten it, but he scampered back into the pocket to try to make a bigger play, the touchdown, and that kind of ruined that drive at the end. So they had to settle themselves 10-3. And you could just tell Houston was just heaving it down the field. I mean, they were heaving it. They running and all that, but they were chucking the ball down the field. And Greg Ward Jr. had himself a day, no doubt about it. Plenty of targets to hit. So we're looking at 10-6, right? The Cougars, Houston, that is, converted on I guess, second. Let me check here. Yep, 2nd and 23 with a long pass play. They ended up taking the lead 13-10. Oklahoma comes back from a pass, that 64-yard touchdown pass play that was just wide open. Horrible coverage. 17-13 for Oklahoma. And what was it, like a 34-yard? I think it was a 34-yard field goal to get it to 17-16. Greg Ward Jr. scrambled his way out of trouble. He got a lot of help from a great catch as well, number 15. I don't know his name. And then they followed that by a 47-yard field goal. So they actually closed out that first half up 19-17. And you're thinking, wow, okay, they stayed right with them. You know, they didn't get flustered. That's pretty damn respectable. So, man, what the hell is going on with my switchboard? Anyway, I do have a couple of callers that are in there. They didn't press 1 just yet. So, I'm not gonna, they're just probably just hanging out. So that's cool too. Nothing wrong with that, as you know. Let me see if I can't fix this though. Anyway, I'm sorry guys. I'm a little behind. It's a one-man show today as well, so I gotta get my things together. So anyway, in that first half, just to kind of summarize some of the things that happened, it's not that Oklahoma was playing just horrendous defense by any stretch, or bad defense, so to speak, right? But to me, they had too many penalties, and they were like the dumb penalty stuff. You know what I mean? And that's not a good look. I think they had 3 personal falls in that first. What the hell? Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm just having a little issue here. Anyway, they had 3 personal falls on defense alone. You know, right out the gate. That's never a good way, you know, to start in that first half. You could see though the defenses were starting to play a little tighter coming out of the third. Here's the biggest play. A failed 53-yard field goal attempt by Oklahoma got returned for basically 109 yards, which obviously led to a touchdown, or not led to, it was a touchdown. 26-17. Another turnover led to a touchdown drive, 33-17 at the end of the third. And look at this stat. This one really stood out to me. On the opening drive, Oklahoma had 61 yards rushing on their opening possession. Or maybe that was the first quarter. Anyway, not a good stat here, right? 27 yards since, which that's pretty crazy. The Sooners missed. I remember them missed on a failed trick play, and they fumbled the play after. But this trick play, the dude was wide open. He had one man to beat. Either way, it would have been a big deal there. There was a 25-yard catch by Andrews, the tight end. That was the second one. They failed the 2-point conversion, so it was 33-32, and that was a wrap. You know, they tried to do some more things. They were driving the field and whatnot, but couldn't get it done. Couldn't get it done for whatever reason. Oklahoma goes down to Houston, and Houston is for real. I mean, Tom Herman is doing a phenomenal job. And a lot of people think that he's going to be gone even before Houston has a chance to get into the Big 12. You know, you wonder. You know what I mean? You wonder if he's thinking about, hey, why don't I get out of big program? You know what I mean? But, we'll talk about this a little more as well as the season goes on, because obviously something would have to come open too. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I really don't know. That should be interesting as that goes on, because I'll tell you what, man. He's got his pick of the litter as far as any jobs opening, I guess you could say, right? I mean, wow. For real. I don't know, man. I'm wondering if he'll hang around. It would be nice to see him hang around and try to finish some things that he's starting right now. He's very impressive though. Very, very impressive. In the defensive side of things is, I think, maybe the most impressive part about it. I really do. I mean, he's made some headway on defense now too, not just offense. We knew they could put points up and all that, but that Florida State win, and I know a lot of people say, well, they weren't focused. Either way, too bad. You lost the game as a bowl game last year. And what do they got? Louisville, who looked pretty damn good in their opener. I know they weren't playing anybody, but man, Jackson, what do you have, like eight? Was it something like eight touchdowns in the first half? Something like that. Was it the first half? I don't know. They just destroyed who they were playing. And I'm sure they had to pay him a nice little chunk to get him there, like all teams have to. Definitely not just picking on Louisville there. But anyway, man, I'll tell you what, there is a lot to talk about, and I think I'm all figured out here with my switchboard. I think I got that all figured out. So anyway, as far as some of the other games, Tennessee, last year they probably would have lost that game to Appalachian State. They didn't manage to come back and win it in OT, but they were down 13-3 at one point for a good chunk of the second half. That first game, you just don't know. We had a lot of tight games across the board, but Tennessee, a lot of people thinking they're going to come out of the West. I don't know about that, man. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how Georgia is. Florida, can they keep taking the correct steps in the right direction? Can they get some quarterback play? We'll see. We'll definitely see. I don't know, but they barely got by. And maybe, man, I remember how many tight games did they not close out? This is Appalachian State, mind you. So if they stay in that same frame of mind where they just try to turn on a switch and turn off a switch, it's not going to be a good look for them. It's not going to be a good look at all. So we'll see. We'll see if they. I don't know, man. They're a little helter-skelter, especially this early in the season. Like, really, dude? I know I'm not trying to take a crap on Appalachian State or anything. You know what I mean? Obviously, they're a good squad, but it just shouldn't be happening. My Stanford had a pretty competitive game. Christian McCaffrey got things going with a punt return right away that got, I think, brought back. But he had a lot of plays last night. He had a big play, then they kind of contained him for a while. Then he finished it off, and Stanford finished him off pretty strong as well. So that they got by with that. It'll be interesting to see that quarterback. I'm not sure about him. I'm going to definitely have to track his movement, because a lot of that McCaffrey, come for Heisman anyway, comes down to how good Stanford will be. I mean, a lot of times that's exactly what it turns out to be. We know that with the Heisman in general. So we'll see how that plays out. He's going to at least need I don't know, only 2 losses tops, maybe 1 loss, probably 1 loss. Who knows though? He could just set his own record again, and then people are like, we got to give it to him. There's just so much competition. And, I do this show based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, so my Golden Gophers got a win in a very, very ugly game full of penalties. And for a team like Minnesota that is definitely, you know, definitely on the up. Now, how high will they go? I don't know. But they're definitely, projecting higher than they have been anyway. It's still 0-0, by the way. Coming on halfway through the second quarter, LSU in Wisconsin. But my squad, boy, it looked rough. So many penalties. They had 3 targeting penalties that got 3 guys kicked out, and two of them were linebackers, and another linebacker got hurt for Minnesota. So they were down 3 linebackers. Only one of the starters was still in. It was a rough one, but they got through it against Oregon State, who will be probably 6-6 maybe. They'll be more improved. That quarterback's pretty clever. So they really took advantage of the other U. Minnesota definitely took advantage of the middle of the field once those linebackers are gone. But some freshmen stood up and played. This freshman defensive end only played 2 years of football so far in his life. He comes in and he has 2 sacks, and both of them strip fumbles. It was gorgeous. But anyway, enough about my Minnesota Gophers. Let's get into some of this stuff here. Alabama versus USC, number 1 and number 20, going head-to-head tonight. I favor USC in this one. The Cooper Bateman, Blake Barnett quarterback situation to replace Jake Coker, that's something they'll have to figure out. USC, though, like most years, is loaded with talent. It's up to Clay Helton and his staff to kind of mesh it together. I will say this. Alabama, like your best shot to beat them usually, right, is in September. Ole Miss has done it. September, man. That's when you got to get them, because once Saban works his magic, it's usually a wrap, and the tide rolls per usual. That's usually what happens once he gets it going. I'm picking Alabama. In that one. I think they'll get it done. I really do. It'll be interesting to see, though. They have a new quarterback, new running back, and also a new center. So it may take them a little bit to get it all figured out. We'll see. You never know. Another big game. Florida State, number 4, against the number 11 team in the nation, AP-wise anyway, take on each other this Monday night. All eyes will be casted upon this Labor Day ACC-SEC battle. Looking forward to this one. 3 things kind of stand out to me when we're talking Florida State, Ole Miss. Quarterback play, Chad Kelly definitely needs to, just do what he was doing. You know what I mean? Just do what. He needs to leave off right where he was. Just start where he was, I should say. Start where he left off. I'm all over the place. Sorry, guys. My cat just almost attacked me, and I had to get it out of there. Anyway, he's obviously a stat stuffer. Chad Kelly is at quarterback for Ole Miss, and he needs to definitely outplay the young quarterback, very young quarterback, redshirt freshman for Florida State. So he needs to outplay that, no doubt about it. And at the same time, Florida State, their defense has to help that young quarterback. You know what I mean? Their defense definitely has to help that young quarterback calm down. It's going to be an intense atmosphere. And I think the third thing is turnovers. It's kind of blend into all that. Can the defense for Florida State stand up and make some plays for that young guy? Or will the young guy, go down in flames? I just spoke of September in Alabama, and that's when you get them. Ole Miss has actually pulled off, recent track record anyway. They pulled off some pretty nice wins in September, Alabama being one of them. So I'm going with Ole Miss. I'm calling 27-23 over Florida State. I was wrong about my Oklahoma pick. I had them 37-30 in a grinded out game. That did not happen. A game that's kind of under the radar because of the big names out there, and just it's a full schedule. Number 16 Georgia against number 22 North Carolina. Obviously the Tar Heels gave Clemson, who was the national runner-up last year, they gave them all they could handle down to the wire almost, basically, in the ACC title game. Georgia needs to, kind of sort out their quarterback position too. Grayson Lambert returns, but he wasn't great last year. And incoming blue chip freshman Jacob Easton, we'll see how it looks like he can stretch the field a little bit better. I think this one will come down to which defense can contain. I didn't say control or stop, because I don't see that happening. But I think it's a matter of who can contain whose running game. And obviously, Bulldog running back Nick Chubb stands out, and Elijah Wood for North Carolina. I think that's what it's going to come down to. My guess is the Georgia Dome will be the difference maker. I got Georgia 34-27. Interesting, I call it a hardcore barn burner. I also, the website I write for is sportsnews24.com. I call it the hardcore barn burner. It's a section in there. I got BYU versus Arizona. I was about to say Arizona State this week. I think that'll be exactly that. I think that'll be a barn burner. On the West Coast, the East Coast hardcores, you should stay up for this one. I think it'll be very interesting. Both teams, it's kind of like an old Wild Wild West, just a shootout. No doubt about it. My Saturday upset special, another little, category I have in my article, my weekly article at Sports News 24. Number 16 UCLA at Texas A&M. It's going on right now, and obviously it's in Texas Station, and that's the home of the original 12th man. Sorry, Seattle Seahawks, but you didn't start it. In fact, I believe they have to pay. Yeah, they have to pay. Actually, that just went up. I'm pretty sure they charged. I think they raised the fee on that charge for Seattle. I think I read that someplace. Just kind of looking at this game here real quick. Looks like there was just a fumble from LSU. Still 0-0. And they weren't really driving. But they got good field position, Wisconsin, right now. Ooh, almost a pick. Anyway, I'm not going to do play-by-play. So that A&M UCLA game's going on right now. UCLA lost 6 players to the draft, although Coach Jim Mora Jr. has recruited well since he's been there. UCLA's quarterback Joe Rosen looked the part, man. Had a pretty good damn freshman campaign. And I think they're going to have to lean on him a little bit more rather than last year when they had to lean on the defense and all that talent that it's produced. The last 2 years, man, just linebacker alone. I mean, the Vikings, my home team, they got 2 UCLA linebackers, and we know maybe the best before the injuries just came out. And UCLA, man, they sometimes they can't get out of their way early in the season. I'm kind of, when it comes to a new year, it's tough, man. You know what I mean? It's tough to predict because everything's so new, right? So you kind of go off trends until things are set and new trends for the current season, are going on. So the combination of being on the road, not having that crazy defense, or at least on paper, it doesn't seem that they have a solid defense. We'll see, though. Like I said, they do recruit well. Speaking of defense, will the Aggies somehow, get their stuff figured out together on that defensive side so they can get back into the mainstream? You know what I mean? Because they had it popping there for a while. Let's not get it twisted. They were definitely on the road. You know what I'm saying? So We'll see. We'll see. We'll definitely see. So I have, like I said, the Bruins, they usually stink out the joint once in September or early on in their non-conference regardless. Even if they win the game, they tend to stink it up a little bit and win ugly. Nothing wrong with winning ugly. I mean, the Gophers just did it on Thursday night. I'm picking A&M not on the odds upset, just on the rankings upset. 30-24 is what I got. My against the spread, I'm embarrassed to even talk about it. I'll just be honest with you. It was horrendous. I thought the Colorado State game was going to be tight. And this is another example of not knowing what the hell I'm talking about. No, this is another example of the early season stuff, and the rankings are just there. But that's what I love about, they don't set the rankings till later in the season, so we can get a feel of how really good these teams are. And I'm trying to grasp, onto it right now. But I actually thought Colorado State would cover their 8.5 points that Colorado was favored by. Wow, not a good look. Just kind of some quick hits before we get out of here for some of the top Associated Press top teams. We went over Alabama already. They got a lot to figure out on offense, but if you look at it, that's not that entirely new for them. You know what I mean? They usually have a game manager that grows throughout the year anyway. You'd assume running back, they got some talent there, right? Clemson returns plenty. They're kind of on the opposite side. Plenty of firepower on offense. They get their best wide receiver. They developed guys last year. That true freshman. They got that. What is it? Leggett. I think he's a tight end. Is he coming back? Either way, they're set on offense. Of course, Deshaun Watson, one of the best, if not the best players in all of the land. I'll tell you what, man, they're going to be damn good. However, defensively, they may have some issues. Now, I say, they only have 4 starters back. Well, they only had 4 or 5 last year. But when you compound that together, when you lose guys early to the draft, when you lose seniors back-to-back years like that, now, once again, they've recruited well, especially on the defensive line. But will they be as good as last year? Last year, they improved. The whole team improved. If you look at the first 6 games of Clemson, 4 games of Clemson, you may not. Same with Deshaun Watson. He was coming off that injury, and it took him a little while to warm up. And once he did, man, what did he get? A combined 47 touchdowns, I believe? I think that was an ACC record. Anyway, the 4 starters returning is one thing, but like I mentioned, to compound that with the year before losses on defense, I'm not sure. They may just have to outscore people. But then again, Florida State, they got to have a nasty D in that situation. And can they put points up? They got a running game and everything, but can they put points up with their quarterback situation? We're going to find out. We're definitely going to find out. LSU, who I think it's still tied. I'll update you before we get out of here, but their title hopes come down to the passing game and the improvements they must have out of their quarterback in their offensive line play and everything. And it's very possible that they could make a big enough, improvement because they have Fournette. Odds are they got a good defense because it's LSU, right? And they have 2 NFL caliber wide receivers on the outside. For Ohio State, who's ranked 6th, they just have 6 starters returning total. And that's from a very impressive 2-year run in Columbus. But we're going to find out. We know he's recruited well. We know he can develop. But we're going to find out if they can keep that. I mean, they've been dominant in the Big Ten thus far. We'll see if they can keep that going. They do have their quarterback situation figured out. and some humble pie from last year to an extent as well. They definitely underperformed many times. Of course, the leading candidates for Heisman, no surprise here, Stanford running back Christian McCaffrey, LSU running back Leonard Fournette, and I'd say Clemson's quarterback Deshaun Watson. Yeah, I would say that those are the leaders as of right now. Plenty to go around still. Don't get me wrong. But just going to update the scores real quick and see if, in fact, UCLA is up 6-zip, 2 field goals early in the second. Wisconsin still has the ball. It's a 3rd and 2 at the Wisconsin 31. So this would be a big pickup for them. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here, folks. Like I said, we're going to try to get – it's either going to be on a Saturday like this, or it'll be like during the week at like 6, 7 o'clock at night. I'm talking Central Time for those in the know. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. It's the College Ball Show. Give us a listen, man. We're going to do a weekly podcast, predictions, recap, debate. And once Marshall joins in, we definitely go head-to-head. We're friends, but enemies on the microphone. No, I'm just kidding. You can go ahead and give me a follow at Rope-A-Dope Radio on Twitter. Check out the Rope-A-Dope Radio podcast as well at blogtalkradio.com, along with the College Ball Show podcast, of course, at blogtalkradio.com/Rope-A-Dope Radio. And also, you could, download it on iTunes. It looks like they went for a pass in the end zone, which is kind of surprising with Wisconsin. They probably did the play action, and they got a field goal from 38 yards out. So it's 3-0, 4 minutes left in the second. I'm going to watch that game in that UCLA A&M game. Anyway, I'm your host, Chris Carlson. You guys enjoy the night. It's a big, big college weekend all the way through Monday. We'll be back to talk about it and get us ready for next week. You guys take it